All right, here we go. Got some gameplay today with Green Mihawk versus Emu, one of the top decks from OP14, the Great Swordsman, in a showdown with the top deck from OP13. Let's get into it. Speed is on 1.5x. We may pause at times to break some things down, but here we go. Our opponent chooses to go second, of course, with Emu. We start our first turn playing our Coffin Boat and passing the turn. And here we go, our Emu starts their turn. They play a Saint Shalria. They do a quick search. Looks like they grabbed a Mars from their search. Then they cycle the Shalria with their Emu and pass the turn. They get another card in hand. We start our 3 Dawn turn here, attaching 1 Dawn to lead, and then just swinging in 6 at 5. And our opponent counters out with the 2K. We go ahead and play a Kid and Killer. We get to do a top 5 search just for a Supernovas card though. Wish we could have grabbed that Mihawk or Tashigi, but we grab another Law and Beppo, and we go ahead and pass the turn. Alright, and our Emu opponent starts off playing a Warcury on the board, 4-cost blocker, and then go ahead and swing in for 5. We take that first life. Not too concerned about taking life early with our Mihawk deck, especially against Emu. We want to save our resources. We go ahead and start our turn playing a Perona, so we freeze their blocker with our Perona's on-play effect. And then we go ahead and utilize leader ability, rest the Coffin Boat, stand 3 Dawn. We swing 5 at leader with our leader. They go ahead and counter out with an event. We attach the rest of our Dawn to our Kid and Killer and go for a second attack, 5 at 5. And our opponent takes that life, so hold on real quick. Against this Emu, we know they run a lot of heavy counter events. So instead of swinging with 1 heavy attack where they could counter out with just 1 card, we choose to swing with 2 5K attacks, try to get more resources out, and then go for their life. All right, let's continue on. They go ahead and start with a 5K swing at our Kid and Killer. We go ahead and utilize Kid and Killer's ability to trash it and stand a Dawn. Mostly we're just doing that to be petty, because we're not going to actually need that Dawn this turn. But they go ahead and play their Mars on the board. So they have the option to KO our Perona, but our Perona, hold on real quick. Our opponent chooses not to KO our Perona because our Perona does have an on-KO effect where we will be able to just play out a 5-cost green character right away. And I think our opponent is being a little overly cautious here. As we can see in our hand, we don't have any 5-cost green characters, but our opponent doesn't know that. So they're playing it safe and just choosing to keep the Perona. All right, let's continue on. Our opponent goes ahead and uses leader ability to trash the Warcury to draw a card, and they go ahead and pass the turn. Okay, we start our turn. We play the Shanks right away, so we're able to rest it with leader ability, rest their Mars, restand 3 Dawn, and now I think we can go for 2 7K swings. Do we want to swing at their leader? We decide to swing at the leader first, and then do we swing at the Mars or the leader here with our Perona? We go ahead and swing at the Mars, 7 at 5, just try to get another body off the board, get a blocker off the board, but they counter out with a counter event. So they protect the Mars, but we do get a 4K counter event out of their hand. We go ahead and pass the turn. Now we do get to stand a Dawn at the end of every turn with our Coffin Boat, and we do have a 1-cost event in hand. Our opponent goes ahead and plays a Jupiter on the board, so all their characters get plus 2,000 power. Then they get a Warcury, another blocker on the board. They just go ahead and swing 5K with their leader at our leader. Now, luckily, thanks to our Shanks being rested, all of their characters lose 1,000 power. We go ahead and take their first attack. Our second attack, we choose to counter out with a 2K. So they did swing with the Mars there, so they're going to have 1 less blocker this turn. We go ahead and start our turn swinging with the Shanks, and we get to rest their blocker with our Shanks ability. So breaking one thing down real quick, with this Mihawk deck, if you're struggling against Emu, one of the crucial game plans we have is to utilize our Shanks, our Dracule Mihawk, our Law and Beppo, and there's even cards like Human Drill to rest our opponent's characters, especially resting their blockers. Okay, let's keep going. So we started off resting the blocker. We swing at their life with 9K, and they go ahead and take that life. Our opponent's down to 2 life, and we have all of our Dawn, our leader, and Perona still to utilize this turn. And we go ahead and play a second Shanks on the board. We utilize leader ability to rest the Shanks and then rest their Jupiter here. We stand our Dawn. That's going to allow us to go for a pretty strong attack here. We attach 2 Dawn to leader. We swing 7 at lead. They counter out with a ground death, 4k events. We attach the rest of our Dawn to our Perona and swing 9k at lead, and our opponent has to take that life. So here we go. With both of our Shanks being on the board rested, all of our opponent's characters will now have negative 2,000 power as well. Let's see what our Emu opponent does next. Okay, they start with a 6k swing at lead. We go ahead and take that first life. We do get a Strive to Surpass Me Zoro trigger, which allows us to rest 1 card and then rest one of their characters. We rest their Warcury blocker. Now, it is our opponent's 10 Dawn turn, so I gotta anticipate we'll see the 5 Elders this turn. They go ahead and swing 6 at lead, and we go ahead and take another life. So we're trying to keep as many counter cards in hand as we can, and we may see a Nos Juro, and there it is as our opponent plays the 5 Elders. Now, luckily, we're missing 1 of the Elders. They only get 4 bodies on the board. No Saturn hits the board, so they don't get to do a top 5 search. But they do have the Nos Juro with Rush, and they have their leader still able to swing. And of course, they have 2 blockers on the board. Our opponent goes ahead and attaches 2 Dawn to Nos Juro. They swing at our Shanks, give it negative 2,000 power, but we can counter out with the Perona in hand. Our opponent goes ahead and swings 7k with their leader at the Shanks, and we can counter out with another 1k. So saving those counter cards in hand is very clutch for protecting our characters. Now we can go ahead and try to swing in and rest their blockers with our Shanks. Our opponent's down to 1 life. We're down to 1 life. It's getting down to the wire. Here we go. Here we're also considering, do we play our Perona out and freeze one of their blockers? Now we can only freeze the 4 cost since the Mars is a 6 cost body. So we'll see how do we want to go about attacking in this turn. And we go ahead and play a Perona, and we search and we find a Dead Man's Game. And we use the Dead Man's Game right away. We get to rest one of their blockers, and then we rest their last Dawn here. So now we're free to swing in. If we swing with the Shanks, we can rest their other blocker and start swinging in without our opponent being able to block our attacks. That's exactly what we do. We swing 9k at lead. Our opponent picks up that life. They have 4 cards in hand. We go ahead and attach the rest of our Dawn to our Shanks, and we swing 17k at lead, and we go for lethal. Green Mihawk gets the dub against Emu, and of course it's Shanks getting the lethal blow. Wouldn't have it any other way. Green Mihawk getting the dub, and the key was just using our effects to rest our opponent's key defensive cards and going for the lethal swing. All right, GG's to our opponent. We'll be back with another one. Peace.